Next clip shows the history of the Exeter School of the Feeble-Minded. This school was established in 1916, in which mentally disabled children were educated and rehabilitated. Later, its population increased significantly, due to which the patients started being neglected and abused. Patients were kept there like prisoners, due to which many people started dying. Though the school's own graveyard was made, but even then the space fell short. So they started burning the dead bodies. Now no one used to get help in the school. Rather, people died due to more problems. So the reputation of that place became very bad and was closed in the late 70s because there was a violation of human rights. It is said that the Exeter building is now haunted and the spirits of the people who died wander there. Now the movie goes forward years later when Father Conway is getting the Exeter building renovated and a boy named Patrick is helping him in this. Father asks Patrick what happened to the college he applied for, to which Patrick says that he got rejected. But the father knew that Patrick had not applied, and that's why he is quite disappointed with him. Father believes that God had some special plan for Patrick, but he is wasting his time with friends and parties. There is also a local junk man named Greer who asks Patrick when will this building be demolished. But when Patrick tells him that this building will be renovated and a youth center will be built here, Greer gets upset and says that this place is not right and they should burn the place. After this, Father and Patrick leave for the weekend. Patrick then meets a friend named Brian, and when Brian learns that the site will be unsupervised for the weekend, they organize a huge party there over Patrick's objections. Brian had invited a lot of people to the party and all of them were making a lot of noise. Patrick was very upset seeing this because he knew that if Father came to know about all this then he would be very angry. Here Patrick meets a girl named Rain and tells her that he works in this building on behalf of the church, and asks her not to miss the after party. As the party winds down, 7 people remain. Those people are having a discussion about the history of that building when Patrick tells them that it used to be a psych hospital. Brian believed that Father Conway had burnt this building because once a child came here after which the patients here started killing themselves, and Father Conway did not want anyone to know about these incidents. But Patrick finds his words rubbish and asks why would Father Conway do this. Then Brad tells everyone about the backmasking. It's when a band records messages backward into their songs. The clergy convinced the parents that there were satanic messages in the music and the press was all over it. Brian shows them a video that tells that Exeter had become the home to unconventional methods of punishment like exorcism and shock therapies. But Conway denied any wrongdoings and cited rock and roll as an occult experiment as the cause of the arsenal. Then Rain tells them about a girl on YouTube who could levitate herself in the air. Most people think this is fake but they still decide to try it and for this they choose Rory. They then begins the process and Amber asks everyone to keep their 2 fingers under Rory. She then asks them to close their eyes and imagine that Rory has died in a car accident and his dead body is lying in front of them. Suddenly, Rory levitates in the air for a few seconds. And embarrassed that he peed his pants, Rory runs off. Amber says it worked, but the others dismiss it as a prank by Rory. Then Rain gets up and goes out of there and Patrick also follows her. They sit outside and start talking where Rain tells him that her father left her and her mother, and now she and her mother leaves alone. Patrick also tells her that when he was 10 years old, his father also left him. Rain tells him that he should take care of Rory as she finds him a lonely and damaged child, and then they start looking for him. They find Patrick on a floor upstairs who was very aggressive and starts attacking them after seeing them. Patrick catches him and ties him to a bed lying there. Rain checks his eyes and tells Patrick that Rory has been possessed and needs a priest now. She tells him to call Father Conway, to which Patrick calls him to come over. He sees that Patrick is doing some strange things and is speaking in tongues. Then both of them go downstairs and tell everyone else about Rory. But they say that it is the effect of drugs. But when Patrick tells them that he has called Father Conway, everyone gets angry at him as they have been ingesting a variety of illegal drugs. Then Greer comes there. Seeing that they all get scared, Greer threatens them that he will call the police unless Amber has sex with him. Just then they hear a sound from upstairs, and Greer starts going upstairs to investigate. They try to stop him but he scares them by firing bullets. Greer sees that Rory is tied up and he frees him. But suddenly Rory attacks him and twists his neck, after which Greer comes out of the room and shoots himself. And seeing this, all of them get very scared. Brian and Amber panic, and as they flee Exeter, they accidentally strike Father Conway with their car, apparently killing him. They then bring the car to the garage and upon seeing Father's condition, Patrick starts calling the police. But Brad stops him from doing so, leading to an argument between the two. Patrick wanted to leave, but Brad doesn't even let him go and says that they have to dispose of those 2 dead bodies. Amber suggests sparing them and Brian and Drew suggest burning the place. But Patrick does not agree with them. Then Brad says that they will saw the body into manageable pieces and melt them down into acid. Grind the remaining into a fine paste, pour it into jam jars and then disperse them in the dumpsters all over the town. But they do not agree with him and say that better than this they should wipe out their prints and leave from here. And then everyone together gets involved in destroying their prints. Patrick then goes to see Rory, who is still tied to the bed, and tells him that he will fix this. On the other hand, Rain comes into the attic of the building and starts viewing some files there. Just then, Patrick also comes there and Rain shows him the file of a 14-year-old patient named Devin Ryer who was born addicted. There was no information about his parents in the file, and he had escaped several institutions created by Father Conway. Further, they find out that he was extremely violent, a pathological liar, a sociopath, and does not respond to treatment. Knowing all this, they conclude that this is the same boy Brian was talking about, and Rain says that whatever happened to this kid is happening to Rory. There was also a tape with that file in which Father tells that Devin had acquired some extra abilities, and that recording of his behavior was also on that tape. Suddenly some sounds start coming and they notice that the security system of the building is getting locked. Seeing this, they tries to get out of there, but it was too late. They try a lot to get out, but then they hear some sounds from upstairs, and when they go there to check, Rory was not on the bed. They start looking for him, but Brad still thinks Rory isn't possessed because he believed that God and the devil do not exist. Then suddenly they see Rory hanging on the ceiling of a room. Seeing that, Brad is terribly frightened and now is convinced of the possession. After all this, they now decide to handle the situation by themselves. They find a do-it-yourself exorcism guide on the internet and start looking for everything they needed for it. Now they also needed holy water for this, so they go to get it from Father Conway's bag but finds that he is not there. But then again they hear a sound from upstairs, so they take holy water from Father's bag and start Rory's exorcism. Now the demon inside Rory tries to stop Patrick from reading the Bible by freeing himself. But Patrick pours holy water on him, causing Rory to suffer, and then everything calms down. He sees that the scars of Rory's wounds have also disappeared, so he thinks that the exorcism is successful. But then Rory gets possessed again and attacks Patrick, and then moves towards the rest. But all of them together bind him again. Suddenly they hear loud music and they go downstairs to check where the music is playing on the laptop. Then they see that "Speak to Me" is written on the ceiling with blood. Drew becomes quite frustrated with this and challenges the devil, saying they are not afraid of him. Then suddenly a big heavy ball falls on him and he narrowly escapes. Rain says that he wants to communicate, and for this, they need a medium. So they carve out an Ouija board. Now Patrick does not find this idea right, on which Rain says apart from this they have no other way. The entity identifies itself as Devin and demands they save it from a box, where it is trapped. Then suddenly there is the sound of Rory's scream, which breaks the glass. But when they check the camera footage, they do not see Rory in the room. Now leaving Brad and Amber there, everyone else goes upstairs to check and finds Rory is levitating in the air. Then after a while, he falls to the ground and recovers from his possession, however, doesn't remember anything. They bring him downstairs with them where Amber was now possessed, and she starts attacking everyone. She stabs Brian with something, and when Drew tries to stop her, she attacks him and bites him off. The others somehow manage to drive her off, and when they go to check on Drew, they see that his tongue was cut off, and then an old chandelier falls on him, due to which he dies. Brad, frustrated by the attacks, arms himself with a pickaxe and looks for Amber. Others also take weapons and go to find Amber, in which Patrick and Rain find Drew's finger has been severed, and they reach that finger by following the blood drops. Though they also find an almirah, by opening which some of the items fall, and hearing the noise, Amber starts coming towards that side. Hearing her voice, Patrick and Rain hide inside the almirah. She comes to almirah and opens it and starts throwing things out of it, but she does not see both of them. On the other hand, Rory is caught by someone. Here, after Amber leaves, Patrick and Rain come out of almirah and find a mark under it. When they move the almirah, they find a door behind it, and when they go inside, they find that this is the same room where Devin was locked. Then they see a crescent made there, and Patrick tells that Rory had painted a similar crescent on the bathroom wall. They then see a cross there, behind which they find some photos and a letter, and here we learn that Devin was the son of Father Conway. But Patrick couldn't believe it. Here Brian is looking for Rory when he sees that a crescent is painted on the Ouija board with blood. When he searches about it on the internet, he finds out that it means calling the devil. Here Amber attacks Patrick, but Rain saves him and the two start fighting. Now to save Rain, Patrick stabs toothbrushes into Amber's eyes, but she again attacks Patrick, and this time Amber hits a rod on her head, causing Amber to suffer. Patrick goes to check on Rain, but Amber attacks him again. However, Rain saves him again, and this time Patrick angrily kills Amber by hitting her with a cylinder. Brad on the other hand sees Father Conway. He tries to flee but trips, and accidentally impales himself with the pickaxe, and he dies. Here, when Patrick and Rain return, they can't find Brian and Rory there, so they start looking for them. They find Brian's iPad, in which he recorded a video telling about the crescent sign, and that someone alive has brought restless souls all upon them. Then Brian comes from behind and starts attacking them with an axe. They both try to escape from him, and then Patrick attacks Brian with a sickle, cutting off half of his face and leaving Brian dead there. They then come to a basement looking for Rory, where they hear sounds from a box. Upon opening it, they find Rory inside, who tells them that Conway trapped him in a box for his own protection. He was talking about a second apocalypse and a dark entity. Rain also sees the crescent in that box and realizes that Devin never died and that he must have summoned the devil from inside the box. Now when they comes out from there, they find Brad's dead body. Rory thinks that he has been killed by Conway, but Patrick does not believe this. They then find the control room in front, and looking at the switchboard, Patrick says that this is probably to control the safety locks. He switches them on and Rain goes out to check. She sees that a window has opened, but then Father Conway attacks her. But she manages to free herself and escapes and starts looking for Patrick. Here Patrick sends Rory out the window and goes back to find Rain. After searching for some time, he finds her and starts taking her out. But Father Conway attacks him and knocks him out. He then goes after Rain to catch her, and tries to snatch her bracelet, but she does not allow him to do so. When Patrick regains consciousness, he sees that Father has rammed a road into Rain's stomach, causing her to be badly injured, and then she dies. Patrick becomes sad about this, and then Father says that he did this to protect him and this was the only way. Patrick gets very angry with him and asks what he has done. Father then tells him that Devin was not a child but a vessel for evil. He also tells that Devin was not his son, and when he starts moving toward Patrick, Patrick sets him on fire, in which Father dies. He then goes back to Rain, and only then her bracelet falls down from her hands, on which Devin was written. Rain suddenly rises and says that he never asked her name. Her eyes had turned white. Seeing that, Patrick gets scared. She tells that her mother loved Father Conway, but he left them alone and the mother killed herself. Here we are shown the starting scene where a little girl was also shown who was actually Rain. She came to Exeter when she was 13 because she thought Conway would save her, but he was ashamed and locked her in a box. She somehow escaped and planned all this so that she could kill Conway, because she knew that dying at her hands would hurt him more. Then she is about to kill Patrick, but then Rory comes there and says she is lying. This distracts Devin and gives Patrick a chance to escape. Then a fight ensues between them and Rory also comes in to help Patrick. They both injure Devin badly and trap her in a box. Then they come out of the building after locking the box with a chain, and Devin gets burned along with Exeter. Later, two cops investigate the ruined site, only to find the box empty.